All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to today's Microsoft Flight Simulator live stream. I'm your host and pilot, Uncle B. Today we are continuing our journey across America in the Junkers 52, heading from El Paso, Texas to Tucson, Arizona. I think our flight time will not be 3 hours and 14 minutes. I think we're going to get there a little bit quicker. But the longest part of our journey will be from El Paso to Sierra Oscar, our lone Vortac there, and then we'll head for Tucson. Come in on an RNAV approach. We'll go from SSO to Lopsy or Lobes, whichever one you want to call it, and then we'll turn in on runway 11 right, put it on the ground, call it a day, be done. So sit tight for a moment. I'll be right back. So yeah, chat amongst yourselves, whichever. The route's there. If you want to look at the route again, if you don't see it, exclamation point route will work. Exclamation point server will give you that information if you want to fly. If not, it's perfectly fine. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Because nobody wanted to chat amongst each other. Let's double check a couple things here. I did this last night, but I want to see if it's saved. It did not. Okay. I'm going to put our weight in while we're waiting for folks to show up in the chat. And I want to add fuel because I want to make sure we have enough to get there. There we go. All right. So yeah, I'll show you. This is how we're coming in here. I'm going to turn in on the left turn and come in on one way, one right. We're going to be coming in over this other runway here, but that's okay. We're going to come in nice and low anyway, and then we'll come in, and I'm not sure which way we're going to taxi. Maybe back over here or back up this way. I don't know. We'll find out. Or maybe over there. Who knows? We'll find out when we're on the ground. Tomorrow we're doing the Route 66. I think that one's going to be a bit of a long leg from our last stop, where we last landed at, and are heading towards Amarillo tomorrow. While we're waiting, I don't know if Mick's in the chat. He might be lurking still. I did find, for those of you who were watching him truck last night on YouTube or Twitch, let's see, I found it last night. Where did it go? I found, let's see, okay, there's the airport. There it is, right there. There's that stadium that you went by, Mick. Why is there so? Well, because Joseph, I've said it before. I'm going to say this again. I can't control how many ads there are. I try to make it where it's not a lot. Okay, if it's a lot, they're very short. That's how I generate some income on this. Okay, it may not be a lot, but that's why. If that's just how it works. Okay. So you get this, or here's this, and then I guess I'm hoping Mick is here watching. I don't know. He might, like I said, he might be lurking. But from there, I'm trying to see if we can't figure out where the Alamo is. I think it should be kind of, well, I would think it would be easy to see from the air. But let's see if we can find it. Okay, there's part of the river walk. Is it there? I kind of feel like this might be it, but yeah, that might be it there. Yep, that's it right there. There's where the Alamo is. I know it's pretty small compared to what because all this around here was not there when the Alamo itself really existed. This is what's left of it. There's the church. There's, I think, like a barracks building. There's a garden. But you can walk around all in there and all that. So yeah, there's part of morning, Mick. I was just talking. I don't know if you heard me or not. So I found that stadium that you drove by last night. You find it again. Hold on. All right, there it is. Yeah, right there. There's that freeway, and there's the stadium that you went by, Mick. And then the Alamo itself, it looks kind of small, but this is it right here. You can't really, there's not much to see from the air, but this little tract of land here, that's what's left of the Alamo. There's a church, there's some gardens, there's like a main building that's, I guess it was almost like a barracks or something. So yeah, there's that, and then you were way down. Let's see, I found it the other night. Yeah, you went all the way down to here. There's McAllen right there, and there's that McAllen Miller International right there. I think you drove right around this way. That road right there is where you were driving down. I'm almost certain it's either that or it was this one. It could have been one or the other. So yeah, I was looking at last night after you wrapped up your stuff. I know Para went on longer, but anyway, so All right. Let's go ahead and get in here and get our. We got our plane pretty much set up. We got the fuel and everything. I just need to advance the time so we have some sunlight. Let's go ahead and do that. Uh, so yeah, that's the area you drove through last night, Mick. So.
El Paso Tower Jumpers Delta, Charlie Delta Lima Hotel, ready for north departure at runway 4.
All right. So we got to do. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true too. Yeah, the other stuff that we drove by that you were like, this looks familiar, and I didn't even think about it until I went back because I was like, huh, okay, maybe so. I don't know. And sure enough, when I went back, I was like, oh yeah, now I recognize what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, they did a really good job with all that stuff, I think. Oops, there we go. I think that's sufficient right there. Let's turn off the taxi lights. Let's get our VOR, our Vortac dialed in. 1540. Oops, that's not right. Ah, doggone it. Oh well, it'll change once we're in the air, I think, hopefully. Alright, there's that. We got our weight. What else we need? The other stuff is on. We don't get it so bright. Let's see. All right, let me on a heading 274 once we depart. Okay. Let me just put this on the same heading as our runway. Look outside, see if anybody else is there. Nope, it does not appear to be so. Alright, let's just go ahead and get going. Alright. Yeah, well, I'll message you later, Mick. I'll send you a message after we wrap this up, because yeah, just an observation. Nice long runway this morning. Oh. I have to get off the flaps a little earlier than expected. thing is really... Oh, did I overdo it with the... 274. There we go. All right, we're on our way. Crusty salute to El Paso for hosting us. So there's that Air Force base that is right next to El Paso, for that military airfield. I think it's an Air Force base or it's an Army airfield, right next to. Look at that. See, there's that, and there's the other one right there. Pilots, I guess, get confused. Oops. Overtime. We're going to head right over those mountains there, so we're going to have to climb here a little bit. So if I miss anything in the chat while I get us going here a little bit better, I apologize in advance. If there's questions, mix in the chat. If he can answer them, he will. I'm sure he'd be happy to. Otherwise, please sit tight. So we are further along the way. Adjust that real quick. I think it's kind of set now. Oh, nope. Started those over. All right, let's do this. Let's do these. Let's get these up to. We're gonna go. Let's do 40. We're gonna be climbing over these mountains. Oop. All right, there we go. Okay, we're on our way. So this leg is going to be 150 nautical miles, roughly. Probably be after we get well over the mountains and continue on. We'll get our signal for our DME equipment, and we'll go from there. So last night, I did a flight. I was going to do it during your stream, Mick, when you were doing the trucks. Although I wasn't sure you were going to do the trucks last night, but I was going to do a flight. I did it afterwards, where you take off from, I think it's an airfield or an airport in Vietnam, and you head to the old Hong Kong International Airport, and the approach is insane. You got this wind that you come in and the plane hovers. It's like you got to really fight it, and if you don't get your aircraft at the right angle and everything, you can easily get pushed back. Like the winds are that strong with the lift of the aircraft coming in. I barely made it. But I was watching watched a documentary last night. Now, for some people, are probably not going to know who I'm going to be talking about here, or the name. They're not going to recognize it. But there was this person named Richard Simmons who, for many years, and it turns out it was about 40 years, right? He he was this very energetic person, always, very much into health and fitness, because as a kid he was morbidly obese, and uh, his knees suffered for it for the rest of his life because he carried so much weight on his frame that his knees were already damaged. So they talk about him, and he'd go on these like morning talk shows and come out clapping, and very positive person. A lot of people credit him with, like, he changed a lot of lives for a lot of people, and that was the thing that brought him the most joy. And then they were like, well, up one day he up and just walks away from everything. Now there was one point during the documentary where he said, and I think this was only maybe 20 years into his 40 years doing all this, that he said, I've made enough money that I could live off of it for the rest of my life and not even be bothered. Like he'd worked that hard and sold, all these books and tapes and, gym memberships to his, they called it Slimmins. It was in LA, where people would come and do, like all kinds of exercises and stuff like that. And the thing of it was that after 40 years, I mean, this guy, he would call people that he never met before in his life, who were struggling with weight loss and depression and all this stuff, right? And he would just talk to them and give them encouragement and all that. And the interesting thing was that after 40 years, like he gave so much of himself. He was burned out partly, but also because of his knee injury, his knee problems for a lot of his life, he had to stop doing all this stuff because he couldn't carry on. He had to have like knee replacement, and when you're older and you get that done, it's not an easy thing to recover from. And many people say the pain from the surgery is far worse than the pain from the arthritis. But it was interesting that he walked away, and of course people are like disappointed and like, how dare he? How could he do such a thing? But it was like he gave so much of himself that they were expecting him to continue to do it till the day he died. And it's interesting that that's what people thought about him, instead of saying, he did a lot for a lot of people, and he deserves to have, he's like, I never took time for myself, but it was kind of a sad documentary. But it was very eye-opening, when somebody puts themselves out there like that, and just is very generous with their time. Like there was one scene where, like, there was a tour bus that stopped outside his house, and he would come outside and talk to the people on the tour bus, right? Like a sightseeing tour or whatever. He'd go out there and spend some time talking to everybody. And somebody drove a car by and ran over his foot. He didn't go to the hospital until after he talked to everybody on the bus. He refused to go. He's like, no, I'll go later. I'm talking to all these, like, his foot's injured. He's like, no, these people are more important than my foot right now. It was really sad, but that people, like, there was all these things that, they said, oh, there we go. There's our needle. We have 137, just under 138 nautical miles. That he did all this stuff, and instead of just letting him have his peace, partly people were concerned because he didn't tell anybody when he was leaving. Like, he just walked away from everything. And very, very strange. I wouldn't say it was strange. Very, very interesting documentary. That's what I after I flew that, oh, it was insane. Like, there's no. They put that airport back in the sim. In real life, that airport's closed. But you have no. You have to do a visual approach, and it's not an easy visual approach because you have all these island mountain areas that you've got to navigate through to um, get to the airport, and then the one approach, it's just like it's insane. I was just like, wow. Yeah, it was like nothing like I'd ever done before, but I got that done for Firefly Air last night. Yeah, I matter of fact, I think. Good morning, Amela. Let me. I want to message you, Nick, real quick over on the court of this. And we'll continue on here. I had chicken patties last night for dinner. Chicken patties. The last 3 that I had in the fridge. Had a nice flight in the new sea. Oh, the Spruce Goose, the what was called the Hercules back in the day. Yes, the big fat one. Yeah, the Spruce Goose, as it's called, but it was also called the Hercules. Because matter of fact, Sergeant Staff was talking about applying the Hercules, and I'm like, oh, somebody's got another C-130 out. Cool. No, that I forgot that the Spruce Goose is actually called the Hercules. Yeah, a lot of people are pretty happy with it. Like it's pretty amazing. But there's like, how do you know, like, where is the? You got to find a long enough. Oh no, I've not flown it yet because I've not. Part of it is trying to find an area of water where you can put it on water and take off from the water. There's no way you can start on land or anything like that. But yeah, on water. But there's, see, like where it flew, there was plenty of water. When Howard Hughes did, like they cleared out a whole. But they didn't know how long. Like it took a while for it to get up to speed enough that they could possibly lift off. Yeah. Yeah, I did. Settled. Yeah. Oh yeah. The I did kind of. I've gone in the hangar and kind of looked at the flight deck and everything. It's pretty impressive. Um, but yeah, I've not prepared myself to tackle that one just yet. What I did do yesterday was practice a little bit with the helicopters. The taking off part, I think I'm somewhat okay at. It's the landing that gets me every time. That's the tough part, is trying to come in, because I know you kind of have to flare as you bring the power down, and then you can set it down nice and easy. But excuse me. That was a tricky part. I did find the heliport there in New York City that I think was added. I did find there's one in London. Although when I went there and spawned in on the helipad, the helicopter was falling through the helipad. I was like, what? So yeah, but it's one of those things that you can take off and you can follow up the Thames, I think, and do a flying tour that way. I tried both helicopters. I think the smaller one's a little bit easier to kind of get to grips with. So, um, but yeah, so I did try those a little bit. There is one. There is a cool little helipad near Niagara Falls that I think, and maybe in real life they do like helicopter tours of Niagara Falls and all that. Um, but see, there's no. The problem is, I tried. Like there's no contact for saying, hey, I'm getting ready to take off here. Is that okay? Like because when you're on the helipad, the helicopter's already started up, but there's no option in the radio menu that it says, requesting clearance to take off from. Now, maybe if I had a flight plan, but there's no, like the one in New York. It's in New York City. It's not like you take off from there and you go up the Hudson River or something like that, and there's another heliport that you can land at. It's like it's like you go around Manhattan Island and come back and land there. And that's about it. But there's no, uh, so you don't get credit for takeoffs or landings in a helicopter yet. They may have to fix that, but that's something I noticed. You know what we need to do? We need to get off the throttles a little bit here. Just realized we hadn't. Of course, it's goes over. I want it to goes over. I want it to continue flying possible. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it's like you have to. Like, even if you call in and say, hey, we're coming in here to land, there's no option for it. So I think that's something they're going to have to put in eventually. I did find the one, Mick, over by the lighthouse there that you were talking about. I think you were telling me about that after, I think it was last week or so, after the stuff came out, and you were like, there's more. It's hard to find them, though. They're kind of hidden at some of the airports. But they're not like at like Gatwick. There's not a heliport there, which I would think at one of the major airports there in London, like London City or something, would have a heliport. But there's nothing there. But they're very difficult to find. But so I did kind of mess around with those. I'm not 100% comfortable with them yet. And because there's not a point where you can fly from one heliport to another, you put a flight plan in, it's kind of like, So, yeah. Yeah, that's all I got to talk about. But yeah, that's Spruce Goose. I've seen it in real life when it was there in Long Beach. It's absolutely amazing. It's huge. Like when you walk in to the domed hangar where they had it at for many years there in Long Beach, next to the Queen Mary ship. It was just it's amazing. It was interesting that the Queen Mary and the Spruce Goose were next to each other because in their own ways they're both for their time they were very technologically advanced. You know, a lot of work went into them. I think the Queen Mary. I don't know if at least when it was in Long Beach. I don't know if they changed it, but it was like you could stay on there, like you could almost like a hotel. I don't think it was very cheap though. Not like the $25 I was talking about last night that somebody insulted. Anyway, well, I'm not gonna go there. I'm trying to be better. All right, 117 nautical miles to our vortex distance. That's a Long Beach on Long Beach. Yeah. I've never been to the beach proper. You know, like in the Bay Area, you could go to Santa Cruz, you could go to Monterey, and that's if you went to the beach, that's where you would usually go. But I never really, when I was there, when we went for a family trip down there to see the, oh, we lost the signal. That's interesting. What just happened? Huh. Well, that was odd. We just lost that signal. Huh. Huh. Well, it's tuned in correctly. 11540. That's strange. Yeah. All right, I guess we'll get a little closer again and uh all right. So anyway, so we'll stay on this heading. I think we'll pick it back up. For some reason, we lost the signal. I don't know why, but we did. I think I need to clean the mixture as well. Let's lean that a little bit. Um, but yeah. So tomorrow, another leg of Route 66. Friday, we'll be in the DC3. We're going to try our hand there in Canada. Vancouver to Guana? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correct. I might be butchering that, but we're going to give that a go Friday. Saturday, Oakland to Las Vegas. Myself and Amela and I believe Mick. We're going to fly from Oakland International down to, or Oakland Metropolitan, whatever, to Las Vegas International. I think the three of us are flying together, unless something changes. But so we're going to do that, and yeah, that will be it for the week. Next week, only Tuesday or Monday and Wednesday, we're going to do the Uber 52 flights, and then I'm going to not stream Thursday or Friday or the weekend because it's the holiday, it's Thanksgiving and all that. And I need to take a little break as well, I think. And then we get back into it in December. Yeah. Oops. So yeah, that's what we got coming up. So I got stuff planned out for the pretty much the rest of November, I believe. But anyway, let's see what else to talk about. Oh, we got our thing is back. 100 and just under 104 nautical miles to our vortex there. Just cruising along here. Texas to Arizona. Yeah, I have to admit, Mick, that was cool seeing that stadium because I remember when I went to there for medic training, I think. Yeah, when I was at Fort Sam Houston. I won't call it Joint Base San Antonio because I don't like all this renaming and all this other crap that they do. But anyway, yeah, when I was there for medic training, we got to go to the All American Bowl, which is where the high school seniors they commit to their school, which school they're going to go play football at, and so that was pretty cool. It's a pretty nice indoor stadium. Yeah, I like San Antonio. And the Brooks Army Medical Center, which is the like the top burn unit. Like if you are in a crash or anything happens and you have any kind of burns, they are the premier burn unit there. Uh, and so anybody that's in an accident, if there's burns, they are taken there. They don't go anywhere else. Yeah, really, it's a huge hospital, and they added on uh, through donations. I think the Wounded Warrior Project has built like apartments or something like that for family members if they have somebody who's in the hospital for quite a long time. They have a place to live that they don't have to drive everywhere. Fly back and forth a bunch of times, so they have a place to stay to visit family members that are in the hospital there. I think I found. Yeah, I could find it. Well, though it's different from when I was there as a medic, and then the second time I went back for leadership school. There, it was the place had changed, yeah, because the Air Force and the Navy came in and spent a bunch of money, given. Yeah, yeah, I like that, Mick. That was awesome, and because the one when you said the one building, I was like, I just happened to look away from the computer, and I was like, what? And so when I backed it up, I was like, oh yeah, okay, I see what you're talking about. But yeah, it's interesting how different, from the air, things look much different than they are on the ground. And I think too, like I think they did a really good job modeling as much as they could, but they can't have like the naming thing. Like the Waffle House is a very big thing there in the South, because it's cheap, greasy food, you know. But like if you're hungry and you're on your way to work and you got time, you can go in there and get something to eat. But because it's a very, usually they're all very small, and you have like the short order cook is right there. It's not like traditional restaurants. Yeah, they're not the best place to eat, but if you have no other option, it'll put food in your stomach. But yeah, they can't have all. They can suggest thing. You can look at it and say that's what that is, but they can't use the actual names, other than if it's an approved licensing thing. Oh, I meant to say, Dale Picks Photography. Thank you for the follow. I think the other day, when I wrapped up the stream on Monday, I think you followed just right after I wrapped things up, so I do appreciate you following. Make sure I mention that. And again, to Kelma Corner, Shelby Corner, I might be butchering that. Sorry. Thank you for the follow, and the Danix. Thank you for the follow a couple days ago. Acknowledge the new followers. I was looking at that this morning when I was getting ready to start the stream, and I was like, I gotta say thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Well, yeah, that was good stuff, Mick. I really enjoyed that, and the fact that you found the SpaceX, the launch site, that was pretty impressive. That was really awesome. So that worked out really well in the end. We got you pointed in the right direction, and you just went from there. So that's really cool. See, I don't mind playing tour guide for stuff like that. You know, kind of like uh, whether it's been Scruffy or Captain Arish, like when they've been over Australia, Oz Nomad, who's on both of their, uh, usually in both of their streams flying, um, he's been like the tour guide. All right, take care, Milla. See you later. Be careful. We did get a little bit of snow here last night. It's probably on its way if it hasn't reached you already. We got a little dusting last night. Just about what I figured it would be, and it's already started. The houses still have them on their rooftops, but on the ground it's already started to melt off a little bit. No, you can call it AFAMs. You know, why not? Llama. Because he called you Llama, you can call them AFAMs. It's all good. I think fair's fair. Let's see what else. Yeah. So what I was getting at until I saw that Amela was leaving and I had to say goodbye. So Oz Nomad, what he did is he's kind of helped both Scruffy Tam and Captain Arish when they've gone around Australia. He's kind of routed them through some very interesting areas in Australia, and gets into the voice chat and talks about those areas. Um, so yeah, he's given a lot of insight and uh, a different point of view that most of us wouldn't know about. So yeah, really cool stuff. So yeah, I was trying to do all that, but it's hard to type it in, you know, uh, and all that. But yeah, I think they did a good job, and I know you still got plenty of Texas to explore. I think you only opened up maybe not even half of the state. So but yeah, there's money to be made for sure down there. In that or going from there to other states, like I could see the contracts getting bigger, hopefully. So anyway, so yeah, I'm looking forward to the flight on Saturday. It's from Oakland to Las Vegas. I think Amila's flying the PMDG 737. I'm not sure which model of the 737 Amila has. But yeah, I can understand. Uh, yeah, because I think there is kind of especially when you're opening up a new state there in ATS or even ETS, you know, you're opening up new areas. You want to kind of see some of it, and or you know you've heard about certain areas, and you know you want to take the time to explore it. Let's see, we are just under 86 nautical miles. So well, now that you got the official seal of approval from Young Addies, go for it, Mick. I mean, Taskmaster Addy says, do it. Oh, Joseph. I do wonder about you sometimes, young man. But yeah, like I wonder. One thing that they could do, kind of like, and here we have like they call the discovery flights, right? If they had like a discovery contract, like you could go, um, you you have a new state, for instance, like you have Texas, you could pick a contract that will take you near like a point of interest or something, or that your delivery is to a point of interest, maybe something like that. So that way you're going there to see more of the state, and then once you do all that, then you could go back and do the more hardcore contracts, the long distance stuff, because you took the time to explore the state more and all that. Uh, but yeah, that would be awesome if they could do that somehow. Maybe uh, I guess maybe you should get a little money out of it, but not, it's not going to be like a serious contract, but it's more to help you see more of the state. And it would be optional, of course, because not everybody would be into that sort of thing. But I think that'd be an awesome idea if they can do that. But yeah, I think stuff like that is far easier to do solo, because you can, kind of like I I I always I'll use this analogy, right? Somebody I knew from high school, we met up again. I didn't know she'd moved to Savannah, right? And we happened to find each other on Facebook, I think it was. And so we started talking again, and she was always very much into photography, fashion stuff, and just she's a phenomenal photographer. And again, it's on my Flickr. There was one night we went downtown like late morning, early afternoon, I think. We didn't leave downtown Savannah, until early the next morning, like probably 1 or 2, something like that in the morning. And we walked around and just photographing all kinds of stuff. Oh, look at that over there! Look at the way, and that was amazing. It was like one of the best times I ever had taking pictures with somebody, because it wasn't like, she would see things, and how I would see it. We would interpret it a little bit differently, or we would approach how we would take the picture a little bit differently. But we would, she'd say, "Oh, look at that over there. What do you think?" And we'd talk about it and all that. But when my buddy in Vegas and we went to Charleston, yeah, we were walking around. I think we had lunch there in Charleston, something like that. But see, he's not a photographer, so it's like when you're into photography, when somebody's not, because they're just kind of like, can you wrap it up? How many more pictures are you gonna take, kind of thing. And so it's like you feel kind of rushed. You don't get to take the time to look at something and go like, oh yeah, that building's pretty cool, or the way the light's hitting this, or the shadows, or whatever. It's kind of like you're not really scoring up for the shot, I guess, for lack of a better term, right? You're kind of rushing through it, because your friend's like, let's go, haven't we spent enough time here, kind of thing. And I think that's part of, you want to, there's a time, I think, to truck with more people, do a convoy, and there's times where you just want to kind of cruise on your own, take time to explore. Because I think that's the one aspect of the game that people tend to forget. There's an exploration aspect to it, because you want to, you could, well, I shouldn't say, how am I trying to say this? You can learn more about the area if you take the time to do so, but I get that a lot of people can't be bothered with that. They're not interested in hearing the history or anything like that. And it shows, right? You can tell. And I'm not saying that to be mean or anything, but you can tell when somebody wants to slow down, and there's nothing wrong with that, slowing down and saying, oh, I want to see what this is all about, or what's this building, or what's that do, or whatever. That's the, you can notice when somebody is trying to do that versus somebody who's just kind of like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, So, all right, 75 nautical miles. We're making our way. So, yeah, but it's just, it's unfortunate. So Mick, Minecraft tonight. I'm going to say this. I'm going to put this out there, and I'm going to stick to it. So help me God. I am not going to give design advice tonight. Those of you who are in Mick's chat and don't say anything until I say something, I'm going to give you the what for. So if you want to be involved in the design, if Mick asks a question, do not wait for me to say something, because I'm going to lose my mind with you. I'm going to lose my freaking mind. Now, if you want me to lose my mind, I'll do it. But if you want to be involved, be involved. If not, more power to you. You can't, please do not wait for me to say something in the chat and go like, oh, yeah, what about? No. If you have an idea, say it. Please. God almighty. All right. Oh, well, that's what I mean, the farmhouse. If they have anything else to add that, or suggestions to you, I guess. If there's something that you want to say, what do you think about this, I guess, is what I'm saying. Or unless you already have the idea and you're just like, no, I got this. But from henceforth, then, just, it drives me up the wall that Mick will ask something and nobody will say anything, and then I put something in, all of a sudden everybody wants to chime in. It's like, why do you it's like when I was at the community college. Students the same way. Teacher would ask a question, everybody's just like, I don't know. Let me check my phone. So I'd say something, and everybody's like, oh yeah. And then I get dumped on for answering the question or offering a observation or something. Oh, just if Mick asks for it, just say, what about this? If he likes it, I'm sure he'll find a way to do it. Yes. Okay. Bex did, yes. The rest of you, oh my goodness, you're going to do my head in, I swear. I'm going to have a coronary before I hit 500 years old. Yeah, if he asks and you think it's a good idea, put it forward. If he doesn't like it, he'll say, I don't know. What about, let's try something else. Yeah. I don't understand it. Oh, I do have, well, yeah, they are. Yeah, they're worried that there's no right or wrong answer. If you think that it fits with the design, if you put it forward and Mick's like, yeah, I like that idea, I'm sure he'd be happy to put it in. But if not, at least you gave a suggestion. So I was gonna say, I was thinking about this morning, thinking about the design of the farmhouse, the one in Farm Sim 22, Mick. And if you're facing the front of the house, and on the left side, there's like that little weird sort of part of the building that doesn't make any sense, right? What it's there for. Now, I could be wrong, but I kind of think that's like where your like plumbing and electrical stuff is maybe located. I don't know. I'm kind of supposing here. But what I was thinking, if you want to, it's up to you. Once you got the inside the house, where that part of that building is, if you can create a downstairs and put a cellar under there, because that's the only thing I could think of is, it would be like there's a stairwell that's kind of under there that would lead to like an underground shelter kind of thing for, like, if there was like a hurricane or something like that, or a tornado. I guess more like a tornado. But if you could put a stairwell and create like a little cellar down there. But that's I was just thinking about that this morning. That's an option. But if you don't want to do any of that, that's fine too. But I was just thinking, what is that for? So the only things that I could think of is either it's where your electrical and your heating and water, all that stuff is, because then it's out of the elements. But you could maybe make doors to open it for maintenance. But otherwise, if you could put like a cellar under there and you have the stairwell going to the cellar, that'd be cool too. But there we go. Now I'll shut up. Yeah, that's I thought that too. Maybe it's like the laundry room kind of thing. You could put that in the cellar. You could put the laundry room underground. But up to you. I was just trying to think what would be there, and because we can't go in the house on the farm, we can only kind of suppose. But that's why I thought maybe it would be something like a cellar, stairway to a cellar or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, see, I think about this stuff at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I don't know why I thought of that, but I was like, what is that part of the building? Yeah, but anyway. So, yeah. If Mick asks for any further ideas or whatever, please chime in. Don't wait for me to say something. Please. Oh. So at this point, I'm going to think that you're just doing it on purpose, just to wind me up. Because that's something that Scruffy was talking about the other day on Sunday on his stream, was the audience interaction. I've seen streamers who they don't interact in any way with their viewers. Even if somebody puts something like hi in the chat or whatever, they don't respond on mic, or there's no. It's like if they. And I think part of it is people are always nervous about how they sound. I remember Joe was talking about how when he first started streaming, he was concerned that, because I think his voice was changing. And so he was very unsure about that, So he didn't talk at first. But then he kind of came into his own and started talking. And it adds a whole different aspect to the stream. If people don't hear you talk, they're going to be like, okay, what's going on here? But, yeah, Nick asked for that interaction. I don't know why people just go like, I don't know. Oh my goodness. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm trying. I really am. Well, you guys are... It's like a test every day. So what can you? Is there? I'm sure. Well, you probably don't know, but I think if you were in El Paso and did well, this is pretty flat country. Well, part of it's flat. We did a drive from um, El Paso to Tucson. That might be a pretty decent size contract if there was one. But then again, like if you're driving through here at night, there really well part of it is there's not much to see, but it would get kind of boring, I think. But now, are let me ask you this, Mick. The contracts in trucking sim, are they just randomly generated? Like, you don't know until you get to your destination and you're like, okay, let's look for another job. It's just some of it's very simple. So I'm guessing it goes from like very simple to like long haul sort of stuff. Is that how that works? So you don't really know what you get till you get there, or until you complete that one job. Yeah, okay, it's random. All right, cool. I kind of thought there was, but I don't know if it's like there's a pattern to the randomness. Like, most places you go, they'll be like take like heavy equipment to a construction site or something like that. There seems to be a lot of that kind of stuff, which I think they try to mirror what real world truckers would encounter. Longest to shortest. Okay. So yeah, if you wanted, like my uncle, my dad's brother, uh, he would do uh, he did a truck route that took him from Birmingham, Alabama to Atlanta, Georgia, and back. And that's like 4 hours each way. And so then he finally, uh, because he had enough seniority, he got more of a local route that he could do a couple runs and then be home, at a reasonable hour. But he did long distance stuff too for quite a while, uh, like cross country stuff. Lost a little bit of altitude there. So yeah, I'm guessing they try to mirror what trucking truckers, the drivers would encounter as far as like contracts that they could possibly get. Because many people, after a while, once they own their own truck, you know, they'll look for like long haul jobs. Like there's people who are married that drive together on like long jobs. They got the nice camper shell, the sleeper part in the back of the cab and all that. I would not want to be a trucker, but I could see the appeal of it. You do get to travel a bit and see a lot of places and whatnot, but you also have to be aware of the fact that you got to get the stuff there by a certain time and a certain day. If not, then you're not gonna make as much money as you could have. thank you all for coming in and hanging out. I might have scared some people off. I don't mean to, honestly. I'm trying to be a better person today. Oh, the challenges. Ugh. All right, just under 48 nautical miles. We're getting there, folks. We are getting there. See, they're 2 hours behind, so it's just almost 6:30 in this part of the United States. Oh, I gotta get a picture here. I almost forgot. See what happens when they get all flustered. Don't know what I'm doing. Forget stuff. Oh. Ooh, I kind of like that. Let's do right there. That looks good. All right, there's our picture for the flight. Something a little different. Lately, we've been taking them on the as we're getting ready to depart. But there we go. Oh, a little bit behind. Get back on track here. Anyway. You know, I have to admit, Mick, after a while, I think when I was waiting while you were, I did watch Top Gun Maverick again. Not that I was really paying attention to it, I just kind of had it on in the background. I guess like the 7th or 8th time I've watched that movie. Oh, what did I miss before? Uh, Not much really. I mean, I don't think anything's changed. Like, no real major observations. You know, nothing's like maybe rethink Maverick as a character or anything like that. But no, I like it more for the flying parts of it. The characters are who they are, you know. There's one character in particular that I think they could have done without. But, yeah. But the rest of it wasn't. I mean, I just like the flying parts of it, that's all. But the one observation I will make that I didn't before maybe, or I might have, but I don't remember if I said it or not, is his senior leadership, right? You know, they don't trust him, even though he has all the knowledge and skills to make the mission work, right? And but they don't really want him there, and so they try to take over, but they don't have, they don't know what he knows, right? And that, to them, it's almost like that's a threat to them, even though it's not like he's trying to get promoted or get promoted above them. They came to him and said, "Can you do this? Can you teach it?" Basically. And but they don't have that same experience, and it shows. And it did make me think of my time in the military. When you have experiences that other people have never had, and you say, "I could do that," oh, no, 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 we got this, carry on, kind of thing. It's very clear that people are threatened by your knowledge, and it used to irk me, but after a while I'd say, "Okay, well, that's how it is, that's how it is. I'm willing to help, because that's what it should be about." Right? But you have what they call spotlighters. They don't want the spotlight on anybody else, because if it is, they've lost something. And that's the sad part about it, I think. Almost, let's see, 37. We're getting there. Getting there, folks. But yeah, that's the only other thing I think I would observe is his senior leadership. You could tell. It's like when you walk into a room and immediately that you feel like you don't belong there, or that you're not wanted there. Yeah. And part of that, I think, is the like when I was in the Army, the higher ranking you get, the more promoted you get, the higher you go in rank, whatever you want to call it, the more removed you are from the everyday soldier. And so you lose sight, because you tend to forget where you came from. You were a private one day, or once upon a time, you were a butter bar once upon a time. Unless you were a doctor, most doctors come in as captains or majors or whatever, because that's a special. But they didn't go. They're there to be doctors. They're not necessarily there for their military expertise. They're just there to save lives. But yeah, the higher you get, the more removed you are, and so you tend to forget, or you willfully ignore how you felt when you were lower ranking or whatever. And I think if some leaders, sometimes if you say, "I remember how it was when I was at that rank, it sucked, hated it. What can I do to improve it?" If you can. A lot of people don't. There was a saying that you leave an organization better than how you found it when you came in. You contribute something to improve it. But now, for whatever reason, we're at a point now where nobody's interested. Yeah, that's the only other thing that I think I noticed. I noticed it before, but I didn't really think about it. But I like doing that. I'll go back and watch something again and again. Let me just see if I pick something else out. I guess kind of like, what did I miss? Or you're like, let me revisit this interaction between these two characters. What's that all about? Was there something subtle there, or what were the writers or the actors trying to say here? And maybe that I could be well wrong, but I don't know. But I do think, and that a lot of these movies, military themed or military genres, they don't get it right on purpose, or they're more concerned about the stereotype. You know, portraying things a certain way, kind of. And I said it before. Well, while you guys were playing the campaign of Modern Warfare 2, it's so cliched, the writing. You know, it's almost like, oh, really? You guys couldn't come up with something better? Come on. Why do you gotta put every stereotype about about who those characters are, and put every stereotype that you have about actual service members into those characters? Like, that just so annoys me. I think the only movie that I felt didn't do that and tried to portray. I watched American Sniper about. Oh God, I can't remember his name. Uh, you know, he was a very complex person who carried a lot of demons with him, and I think, not that I'm a big fan of Bradley Cooper, but I think he did a great job trying to portray character. You know, add the layers of complexity, the things that he struggled with when he got home, got out of the Navy. But a lot of people don't. Ooh, 28 nautical. That's the only one I feel kind of was like, is it wasn't cliched. It was probably that. Yeah, I'd say that movie. You know, Clint Eastwood directed it. I think he wanted to try to show, you know, a bit more depth to who that person was. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. But yeah, the rest of it's just all cliched stuff. And sometimes that's a little. But yeah. But I like watching it mainly for the flying stuff. That's all. It was either I was going to do that, or I was going to listen to somebody try to do a really crappy version of an American, especially a Texas accent. I wasn't about to have that. I wasn't going to put myself through that. Anyway. It is what it is. 24 nautical miles to our vortex. There, somewhere out there. Yeah, I can only stomach that kind of stuff for so long, and it's not funny anymore. But it's all good. All right. I think because coming up, we have to turn on a heading of 259. I know we are going to. I think there's. I think we may have some mountainy challenges up ahead here coming up. We're gonna have to kind of thread our way through, I think. We'll find out. If we have to climb higher to get over and then drop down in altitude, but I think we could make it like through here. We'll find a path. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. Some people. But I think part of that it's how that part of the country is portrayed in movies and stuff. Um, and they pick up on that and they think that is the reality, you know. And so that's I think that's part of the problem. And when you try to correct somebody, it they don't always appreciate that. Like I don't try to imitate another. Yeah, I probably when I was younger I would not care, but as I gotten older, it's more about respecting where different people come from, right? You sound posh to Rob and Mick. Huh? Ooh, Joseph, I don't quite understand what you're trying to say. Would you care to elaborate that? I don't, see, like, I don't, well, like, there was this show years ago here in America called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Robin Lear, and he had a very posh sounding voice and always these posh settings, these fancy houses and stuff like that, right? But, no, everybody, like, how people talk, like Jody sounds different to me than like say Bex does. Very distinct, different voices, right? Mick has his own very distinct voice, you know. But that's just part of it is how people grew up, and like there was when I was in Germany, there was two different dialects. There was the northern dialect and the southern dialect of German. Uh, Who? Who are you talking about, Joseph? Are you talking about me or are you talking about Mick? I don't know. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. While you figure that out, Joseph, I am going to take a step away for a moment. I'm going to leave you guys outside here to enjoy the not so posh scenery. I'll be right back. So Joseph, are you saying so? So what I think you're saying is that you think Mick and I both sound posh. Why is that? What what gives you the indication or the idea that Mick and I are both posh? I don't quite understand that one. Boy, we went way off track here very quickly. I don't think I sound posh. Okay. Well, I only sound like me. That's all I can sound like. Whether I'm posh or not, that's see that's a like when I was I'll use this other example. When I was in Germany, most everybody seemed to think, and again, it's because of the media, that everybody who lived in California either owned a ranch or lived on the beach. They didn't think of any place else or any other option. Either you owned a ranch or you lived on the beach. That's it. And so when you tell them, like, no, I don't live on the beach. What do you mean you don't live on the beach? Well, the whole state of California is not a beach. There's other places to live in California. You can always go to the beach, but, you know, living near the beach or on the beach, whatever, is not always like the greatest option in the world because you have the weather is very rough by the beach, like what NG was talking about the other day. So I don't know, like that's a cliche, that's like a stereotypical thing to think about. Just because somebody sounds a certain way does not mean, I don't know if by posh it means we sound educated. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But part of it is that Mick and I are fairly close in age. We both have lived through certain times in the world, so we can relate to one another in that respect. But I don't think that either myself or Mick sound posh. I don't know why you would think that, Joseph. But again, I think part of that is just people see or hear certain things from the media, and then they attach that stereotype. Like many people in the media would say, "Oh, everybody in the South is just a bunch of dumb idiots." Well, that's not necessarily true. But they get people to believe that, right? And so then when they see that in movies and on TV and in the news, they just make that assumption that it applies to everybody, right? And that's not fair. It'd be wrong for me to make assumptions about people in any different country around the world, right? That's insulting. That's disrespectful, All right, we're almost there, folks. We're getting there. I think I told this story before. We'll have another story time. So years and years ago, when I worked at the military entrance processing station, there was an officer who I've thought very highly of. Was quite fond of her, and for all intents and purposes, it seemed that she felt the same way about me. Let's put it that way. Every time she came into the office, or into my office, right, where I worked, everybody's like, she's really into you. I'm like, what? No. She is. Yeah, whatever. And there was one time, there was her and her sister both play the violin, and so they had a recital, right? And so she said, hey, we're doing this music recital at this person's house. Now, this was in a very nice part of Palo Alto. There's two different parts of Palo Alto. There's East Palo Alto, which is kind of sketchy, and there's Palo Alto closer to Stanford University, which is very, very nice. Very expensive homes. So I went as myself, basically. I wasn't, because back then I didn't think about it. And it dawned on me later. How you dress, a lot of times, will dictate how people will treat you. I didn't learn that until I was at the community college. I dressed like everybody else. I'm just like, let me just see what happens if. And as soon as I started wearing a shirt and tie and nice pants and nice shoes and a sports coat or whatever, it's like a complete 180. People started to treat me way different. It was crazy. But so I show up to recital, right? I'm just kind of chilled. It's like a Saturday. Why did I care? I was there basically because I liked her, and I thought maybe if I show up, that would give her some indication about how I felt, right? No, not so much. Anyway, so they played very well. It was very beautiful music. Both her and her sister, and somebody played the piano, I think. It was very nice, right? Which I think is cool stuff. I don't mind any of that kind of thing. I can appreciate when somebody has the skills to play a musical instrument, regardless of what it is. If you could jam on a guitar, hey, that's cool. I like that. If you could jam on the piano, hey, that's cool too. Whatever, right? So the joke became afterwards. One of my buddies, who's a recruiter, or he worked at the MEPS at the time, and then he became a recruiter. We called her Punch and Cookies after that. That was her code name, Punch and Cookies. Because after the recital, they served punch and cookies. Right? And so I'm sitting there, and I'm, just trying to be nice and be pleasant, whatever. But I've got jeans on. I've got an Arsenal frickin' soccer jersey on and all that. And so this person comes up to me, and this is one of those things that you could tell when somebody's very class-based, that they look down on people, right? And so this person said, oh, so what did you think? I said, I really enjoyed it. I think they all played phenomenally well. It was very interesting. And so this person says, oh, well, it's a good thing you got out and got some culture, huh? And I'm like, what? Now, that's like an insult to me, because you don't know how I view culture, or that, I've gone to museums and appreciate art and things like that. All right, we're over this, so we're going to turn on, what was it, 259, which is, I think, is where it's sending us now. All right, so we're going to try to fly. We have, hold on, where is it? Maybe we won't get the DME to measure our distance so that we know. Oh, maybe we will. Never mind, we will. Okay, we're just still churning. We want to fly. We want to keep that and fly for. Oops. Level off here. We want to fly for. What was it? 97 nautical miles. So we're going to try to keep an eye on that. Hopefully, we'll keep that. Vortac to use that distance measuring to get us closer to where we need to be, so when we land, we know we're in the right spot. But anyway, so yeah, like, I've gone to museums. I appreciate art and music and stuff like that. But because I was wearing a soccer jersey or football jersey, or whatever you want to call it, the person assumed that I was not cultured, right? And I kind of looked at him like, huh, yeah, sure. Now, if I was a different person, if I was really uncultured or whatever, I would have decked the person and laid him out and said, you can take your culture and shove it up your ass, But I didn't. I was like, no, let me be, be gracious, at the ignorance of another person, So yeah, that's what, like, I always wonder, like, what possessed you to think that I don't have culture, or that I don't appreciate things like people playing a recital on the violin and the piano and stuff. Like, it was fantastic. But anyway, I made my play sometime after that. She was like, "No, I can't." I was like, "Okay, cool beans." Anyway, punch and cookies. The end. Yeah, you can't lump people in together. You shouldn't, because you're not allowing somebody to be themselves. And that's not fair to them. But I learned at a very young age, Joseph. I was talking to adults early on in life, and I was able to be a part of the conversation. Now, uh, was that probably the best thing for me to do? No, but that's what it was. When my mom would host these like Christmas parties and stuff, she would have people over from work, and I would talk with them. And like, I would show off all the model planes that I'd recently built, and talk about each plane, and this is what this one does. And they were like, "Wow, like, yeah, I know a lot because it's something that I am passionate about." When you're passionate about something, people can hear it in your voice, whether it's music or painting or photography or playing a flight simulator or whatever. People can hear that in your voice, and they're like, "Wow, you're really like this stuff." Yeah, I do. And you know, but if that means I sound posh, I guess so. I guess so it is. So be it. But I'll never forget what that person said, and it was like this: the assumption alone. Like I said, if I'd been any other person, I think he would have been laid out, and maybe rightfully so. And then that, of course, you would have been like, "Yep, I'm out of here." And I think, I did basically do that. After that insult, I finished my punch and cookies, put, dispensed of my trash in the receptacle, and said, "It was very nice. I will see you on Monday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Adios." Because again, yeah, maybe that's it too. We I don't know. That's possible. Since we can't get a clear answer out of Joseph, we can assume just we could go any number of ways with this. I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's. But it's like like I said before, when you go in a room and people look at you, you can tell immediately, like, "Oh yeah, I feel like I belong here," or "I feel like this is going to be okay." And other times you're like, "Yeah, I'm just going to be here long enough to eat some hors d'oeuvres and chat with a few people. Then I'm walking out the back door, getting in the car, and skedaddling out of here. I'm not going to be bothered to sit here and be insulted." Because some people I think that's what this person was doing, or he thought was, "Oh, I'm going to offer kind of like subtle insult, because he's too stupid to realize what I'm trying to say here, right?" Joke on him. I clearly I got his message was, "You're not welcome here. You don't fit in here, right? You shouldn't be here." that's okay. I still enjoyed it. I was grateful for the opportunity to go listen. That didn't change. No matter, even if she rejected how I felt about her, I still enjoyed the opportunity to go hear her play a musical instrument, her and her sister both. You know. Because what he said says more about him than it does me. That's the way I look at it. People who throw those casual insults out there, they're insecure about themselves. They think that they're better than everybody. No, there may have been things that he knows that I don't know. It's possible. There's things that I know that he doesn't know. At the end of the day, what does that really mean? Not much. It's just, that's the way life is. There's things that Mick knows that I don't, and vice versa. That doesn't mean I think any less of him. We just have had different life experiences because we've lived in different parts of the world, but we have shared experiences through global events. That's the difference. We can talk about things that we know we remember happening in our lives. But one thing I learned over the years too is it's up to each person to better themselves, I think yeah, I think so. I think that was it, because I was not what he would have expected for her to invite to this recital. So I'm guessing if I remember correctly, most everybody I was introduced, it was somebody that she had known for quite some time. Either they went to the same church or they were part of the same organizations or something. I don't remember, but yeah. But it was clear that I was not welcome there. I always wondered, like, what would have happened? Like, could I have really laid him out if I wanted to? Like, just punch him right in the jaw, break his jaw or something. But again, it doesn't solve anything. It plays into what like I'm a Neanderthal or just a mindless idiot, right? But sometimes people like that deserve to be laid out. They deserve to be knocked down a peg or two. That's okay. Maybe it came later in his life. Maybe somebody did it and I never found out about it. But not that I wish him any harm, but he may have found the wrong person one time, threw out that casual insult, and they were like, okay, bam, who knows? Maybe not. But the only thing that any of us can do is be better than we were yesterday. If it means you sit down and you read a book and you're like, like, I always, whenever I hear a subject, right, like say I'm watching Scruffy Stream or Captain Arish or something, somebody will say something, I'm like, that kind of piqued my interest. I immediately go to Amazon and say, let me find out if there's a book about this. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. And I'm like, maybe one day down the road I'll get this book and learn about this particular subject or this particular person or whatever it is. But it's up to each person to decide if they're willing to invest the time to do all that, right? And if you don't want to, that's on you. No harm, no foul. But sometimes people just don't want to be bothered. They're just like, I don't care to learn about this. Okay, cool. I don't know. Anyway, so that's the story of Punch and Cookies. Don't know whatever happened to her. She left. I think she resigned her commission or something like that. Like I was always surprised that she was an officer in the army. Like she didn't fit the like she was there only for some reason or other, but it didn't, like her personality didn't fit what I would have thought as an officer. But she had did her time or whatever and then got out. I never got to find out why she became an officer. I would have been interested to hear why she wanted to become one. That's the way it goes. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about that. So we are 24 nautical miles past our vortex there behind us by our measuring equipment. We still got like 70 something more nautical miles to go, way out there in the distance. So we're chugging along, making our way the only way we know how. Let me see. What is the while we're cruising along here? Oh, so as of yesterday, we'll change the subject here. According to FS Hub, I have landed in a total of 23 countries and still have 218 countries yet to explore. My goodness, we got a lot of exploring to do. Goodness. What was I looking for? Oh, yes. Tomorrow's flights going from Oklahoma City, Will Rogers, I think it's Will Rogers World Airport. Is that it? Yep, Will Rogers World Airport. We're going to Amarillo, 202 nautical miles tomorrow. I don't think a Cessna 172 is going to be our aircraft of choice. But I don't know what I'll come up with something. I'm not sure what I'm going to fly yet. We'll do that. I'll figure that out. Put some information in the cord of discs. All right, so here we are. We have quite a few. I think eventually, probably on the other side, that cloud or something, I think we're going to lose our vortex. Segment. We're going to be kind of flying blind, so to speak. Now, there is one. You know what? Hold on a second. This is a. We could tune into 11600. Let's see how far into this journey are we? 30 nautical miles. We got 60 something more to go. The problem's going to be if we tune into that I think it's a VOR. Or, yeah, it's a VORD. Nope, it's a vortex. If we tune into that, we can't follow the needle there because then we're going to miss our approach. But at least we would have a general direct how much farther we have left to go, other than what we know already. So we got like 59 or so nautical miles to go till we reach that RNAV point there in the distance. Maybe if we get, see if we can get to 45 nautical miles distance, then I think we'll tune into that other vortex there between there's an Air Force base and Tucson International. So I think what we'll do is we'll try to get a little bit closer before we tune into that, and then hopefully we'll pick up a up and over. We gotta gain some altitude. I think what we'll do is we're gonna cut right through here. If I remember Tucson correctly, there is like a mountain range. See, the airport faces north to south roughly. I think to the east was like the mountain range, if I remember. Because I've been to Tucson a couple times. I think I went to Davis Monthan, the Air Force base there. I think we visited there once while I was at Fort Huachuca for a year. Minecraft tonight, Mick? What time are you going to get started on that? And make sure I'm prepared for that as much as possible. This thing does not. It's interesting. Like I've got it trimmed all the way back, and it is not wanting to climb. It's like I got to pull back on the stick, but I don't want it to be so much that we start to stall. I need to lean the mixture a little bit more. About 6:37. Okay, so 2:30. Wait. So 1:30 to 2. Okay. All right. We will be at the larger computer. See the better details. The Gaddies went to watch Joe stream Train Sim World 3. He just started up about 5 or 10 minutes ago, I think. I'm not sure which route it was on. I got the notification on my phone now. Oh boy, we're... That's insane. I cannot get this thing to... Where does this say? 43, okay. We're almost halfway there. I want the planes to stall. I'm trying to keep it nose up a little bit more because I've already trimmed it all the way out. 7. What did I say it was? 11600. Trying to multitask here. I can tell when it's starting to nose down. Hear the wind. 11600. All right, let's do this thing. Don't want to start the plane. There we go. All right, perfect. Okay. Now that's at the lower end of the airport. That that vortex, I believe, or yeah, it's like on the southern part of the airport. So we'll use that 40.5 nautical miles to go. So I think if we do that, I think we'll be okay. Still want to be on a heading of 259. We're not going to pay attention to that needle. We're not going to fly that needle. We're just going to try to maintain a heading that will get us to our RNAV point for our RNAV approach, runway 11 right. So we may have to skirt around mountains and whatnot. We'll see how we do. Let's look at our temperatures. Yeah, still in the green, so that's good. So anyway, well, I do appreciate everybody coming in today, hanging out. Had some lurkers. Seems like we've had a few lurkers here and there. Maybe listening while they're getting ready for work, or they're at work, or who knows. Hanging out. Back tomorrow, 7:10 Eastern. Our next leg, the Route 66 flight, Will Rogers World Airport to Amarillo. Rick Husband, I think is the name of the airport. May. Oh, hello, Skydiver Rob. I don't have the alert command, but yeah, Scruffy has alert command, I think, on his stream. But thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. I am your host and pilot, Uncle B. We are in the Uyghurs 52. We took off from El Paso, Texas. We're heading to Tucson International. We are was 37.2 nautical miles to the vortex that's near Tucson International. But we're doing an RNAV approach. Yeah, El Paso. It was a pretty nice. It's an interesting airport. The layout and everything they talked about. Like when I was doing some research about landing there, they said don't be aware that there's another. If you come in on runway 22, for instance, there's a parallel runway that belongs to the military that people easily confuse the two runways. But yeah, we're making our way to Tucson. Getting there pretty soon. We'll wrap things up. We'll be back tomorrow. I don't know what plane I'm flying yet. I haven't decided, but we'll do something fun from Will Rogers World to Rick Husband Airport there in Amarillo, Texas. Yeah. We fly 4 days a week usually. Sometimes we'll do a Saturday or Sunday, but very rarely. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is my usual schedule. This Saturday, we'll be in the, we're doing a flight from Oakland to Las Vegas. Yeah, I do have a multiplayer server. Ooh. Yeah, Tucson's just on the other side of that mountain range, I do believe. I'm usually on that server. Okay. Alright, so Lobs is our first RNAV point. So we're getting close to that. So yeah, I think just on the other side, if I'm looking at sky vector charts right now, just on the other side of this area here, we should be pretty close to getting ready to descend and all that. I do have a Discord server as well. There, Skydiver. So if it's not like a chatty Discord. It's more just a way for me to, uh, put out information about the flight, and then also if I'm canceling, excuse me, if I have to cancel any flights or whatever, cancel the stream, I'll put that in there. But usually, if by an hour and a half, if you don't see me online, then chances are the stream's canceled for the day. Next week we're only doing Monday and Wednesday flights. Rest of the week chilling out for Thanksgiving. Not that I'm going anywhere or anything. I just like to have some time to myself. This. Let's have a look real quick now. 28 nautical miles, yeah. So it's right over. So we're kind of coming a little bit north of our destination there, and we'll turn in and we have to be at we have to be at about 6,000 feet when we come in. So we don't have a lot of altitude to drop. We'll get there. Put the lights on. Turn dome light off. That light on anymore. Plenty of sunlight behind us. Let's see, it's only just about 7:30 in Tucson, so the sun would be probably just about coming up, or up a little bit. Wouldn't be as high as it is now, but it would be. So what we're going to try to do, we're going to try to go right in between here. I think that's kind of where our path is taking us. So I'll offer this, Mick, if you want to. Next week, since I'm only streaming Monday and Wednesday. If any time next week you want to get on the farm and crank out some time there, get some things done, any day of those weeks, 2 or 3 days of those weeks, whatever. want to do it, let me know. I got nothing but time, but I'm not going to screw myself. 5 viewers. Well, thank you all for coming in. Welcome. Say hello in the chat, please and thank you. We don't bite here. Oh, no. A couple people disagree. Yeah, no. No, not interested. That's okay. We're not everybody's cup of tea here on the MPB station. And that's alright. We appreciate those who stick around. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of relax, do my own thing, whatever. Alright, 24 nautical. So let's see if we can talk to them just yet. Ooh, churning. Oop, there they are on the list. Right above this. No, we're going straight in. Hate to tell you. Nah, left traffic. Nah, we're going right on in. Negative, Ghost Rider. We're not following that. Yeah, it should be right down. So no, so yeah, we have to cross over a dry riverbed, maybe? Let's see if I can figure out some of these landmarks here. Alright, so if I think I see Davis Mothin is closer to the mountains. I think that is... No, it's going to be closer along this side. Final approach is going to be on 1, 2, 3 degrees. Right. Last time I was in, it's been many years since I've been in Tucson. They used to have this huge mall in Tucson. Like, it was gigantic. I like Tucson. It was a nice place. With that dry desert heat. Many of these areas, people convalesced there when they had like tuberculosis and stuff like that, because the dry heat helped them, kind of relieved a little bit of their symptoms. Alright, so it's saying 19 nautical miles, so hold on a second. Continue to fly, so 5, 7.4, 9.4, 13.7, 14, 15.5. Okay. So there's a river. Let me let's have a look here. I think. All right. Looks like a river. Oop. Okay. Try to look on the chart here to see. Okay, there's that. Looks like there's a small river here, another one there. Might be Davis Moss there. .2. Let's say the distance was. Well, let me do some calculations here, folks. Go 2.4 plus 2.0 plus 4.3 plus 1.8 equals 15. Okay. Checking my math there. Nothing wrong with checking your math. Alright, so looks like okay. I think we'll turn left. We need to get some altitude drop. Start to drop a couple of years. Alright, let's go ahead and start making our left turn here. See, it's very... Let me put on heading a 1, 2, 3. It's all right. Not seeing any runway lights. I know there's only one single runway for Davis Monthan. I think that's the look at the, yeah, one single runway. And we're looking for an airport that looks like it has like a T. I almost feel like this is it right here. Kind of looks like it might be it. Oh, there's our landing instructor. Okay, let's go. We got this. Guess right? Yes, no, maybe? Nope, we were a little bit off. I thought it was that. That might be Davis Monthan there. because I think no, they're about parallel. Huh. Oh, well, we're getting there. All right. So that did kind of help, although we're not going to get an accurate reading because it's a little bit farther past the runway. It's at the very end of our. It's at the south end of the airport there. That VORTAC. All right, let me get back to the chat. Sorry, I don't mean to ignore. Usually when we're coming in for landing, I have to kind of focus on some things. All right, so it's lined up. I think 1, 2 left is where that VORTAC ends at. So if it's parallel, that means that's roughly the direction to 1, 2 left. We're on 1, 2 right. Do, 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 do. Do some altitude here. That's the left entry. We want to fly straight a little bit more. Not necessarily straight. We want to fly this way, and then we're gonna. We still got to drop some altitude. Yeah. Also, too, Mick, if you don't want to necessarily stream it, we can do it off stream as well, just to get things kind of sorted a little better, set back up, however, whatever you want to call it. All right. I think start. Nope, still a little bit early. That's interesting. Okay, how is it that we're on a final heading of 1, 2, 3, but it's like saying it's way behind us? Something's. Oh. Okay. Turn even more. Yeah, I don't mind helping you in the background. That way we can just get a lot of stuff done and help get things set for another stream at some point. So there's that. That should be our runway right there. No, we still got to come around. Okay. I got misled by the lines because that's the left pattern entry and turn, and then one more turn into. Okay. So the T should actually be up here. we might have. Yeah, that makes much more sense. Alright, so I think what we're going to have to do here, try to get through these clouds and I can see a little bit better. See, it's kind of masking that mountainous area there. Ah, get out of the way, cloud. Come on, really? You can go all fuzzy on me just to be a jerk. Okay. Alright, now I see lights. Runway lights. There we go. Alright. Okay. Yeah, I reckon we could, between the two of us, we could probably get a lot done without having to worry about the stream chat and all that. Might be easier to sort some things out that way. You know, try to hide from Taskmaster Addies. Kidding, Joseph. All right. University. Arizona State here's in Tucson. I think Arizona State's here in Tucson. Luckily, I could be wrong. I know there's a huge university here. That's I don't know what their main program of study is, what they're known for, other than partying, maybe. Okay, didn't even hear me say it. Normally he responds. He must be watching Joe right now. All right, there we go. We're in alignment up now, folks. Now things are making much more sense. There we go. All right. All right, let's get this thing on the ground, and we'll catch up with the chat here in just a moment. If you put anything in the chat, I will read it. Once we are on the ground, we have the aircraft under control. We're taxiing. Now, usually, sometimes I'll fly a pattern, but that just seems to get us way out of our way, and Now, we had plenty of fuel to do it if we had to, but I like to get things on the ground expeditiously and forthwith if I can. Nope. Try to come in nice and flat like we normally do. Lead off some speed. We come in too fast, we'll spend too much time over the runway. Settle down as quickly as possible, not sooner. Almost there, folks. Of course, the needle's pointing just about the end of 1-1 left. That port tech there at the end of the. At least we use what we had available to help us get us here. Nothing wrong with that at all. This isn't real. We have these nice guidelines to help us find where we gotta go, but it's okay. So there's that other runway that runs right across. So we don't, our actual runway markers are right there. That's the end of the runway right there. Boy, the lights do not seem to be lined up with this runway, do they? Anybody else see that? How crooked it is? It's gracious. It's a little off, but maybe it's just me. Maybe it's an optical illusion. There's a little bump coming up. Right there. All right. There we are. On behalf of myself and the entire flight crew, we'd like to welcome you to Tucson, Arizona. It's not Tucson, it's Tucson. Local time is 7:54 in the morning. We understand it's the middle of the week. People can't be bothered sometimes. Everybody's working towards the weekend. At least that's what I heard. I don't know if it's true. All right. Oops. Slow down, plane.
124.4 for Junkers Delta Lima Hotel.
Parking, please. Thank you.
Charlie Delta Lima Hotel request taxi to parking.
Okay. Ew, what? So yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. The Not sure what plane we're flying yet. We're going to do our next leg of our Route 66 tour. Will Rogers to Amarillo, Oklahoma City to Amarillo, or Will Rogers World to Rick Husband. All right, here we are. Plane rolling. Yeah, quite like that. That was a good one. Joseph's definitely not here because normally he says, "Good landing, Rob," or "That was an awesome something." He must be somewhere else. So, yeah, we made it. We're gonna wrap things up here once we get to our parking spot, wherever that is, somewhere way down yonder. Wait, we're gonna taxi. Oh, you know what? We're just gonna go right up here and turn. No, let me get off the runway. Even though I don't think anybody's coming in for landing here. There he is. Finally. I'm not convinced you saw it, Joseph. I'm not convinced. Don't just give me the same feedback. That's alright. I'm just kidding with you. Appreciate it. Yeah, we will be fly tomorrow, barring any unforeseen incidences or anything like that. You know, one day, Joseph, I'm going to ask you, what was awesome about the landing? I want to hear what was it about it that made it awesome? I'd like to get your thoughts. Looks like there used to be a runway through here. See that? Kind of looks like one, huh? Something. Maybe I'm just imagining things. Just remember, Joseph, there's no right or wrong answer. You say it's awesome because whatever you say, it's all good. One day, why was it awesome? Why was it this? What about it? What was it about it that made you feel? When you was lining over the runway, you kept your calm. Oh, okay. There. Okay, I could respect that. That's good. Good feedback. Thank you, Joseph. Okay. See, now you're sounding all posh. I'm kidding. I appreciate that, Joseph. Good observation. Well, the other thing too is, it does. See, like before, I'd get all nervous because I didn't know what I was doing, or I wasn't sure of myself. Now it's a little bit easier to be more calm on approach because what else would I do? You know, if I screw up, I screw up. I'll be disappointed, of course, but I think I've flown this plane enough to know how to deal with it. So. Yeah. I know we made it quicker than the 3 hours. We've been streaming for 2 hours 51, and I think we've been flying for about 2 hours 40. So I think we beat the expectations of the whatever time the sim thought we would get here. I know this is not going to disappear, so I'm just going to pull forward enough. Don't need fuel, thank you very much. We're ending here. Alright, let's go ahead and get that shut off. Mixtures cut so that that's, oops. Yeah, you can smoke near the fuel. That's okay. It's all good. In fact, we encourage you to smoke near the fuel. All right. Battery. There we go. All right. Let's do our quick FS hub. Well, I try to be Joseph. 2 hours 30. I was a little bit off on my estimation. So there we are. That was a pretty good little flight. Let's put in our time here on this hub. Oops, I think I went too far, did I? No. There it is. We took off from Kelp and landed. We took off at 12:20. Went to K Tuss. Landed at 14:51. Submit. So that is let's see how much credit, how many miles I got out of that one. I think it's like 300 something. 233. That's fine. Anyway, that will do it. Appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out. So we will be back tomorrow in the in some plane. Matter of fact, you know what? Let's look. No, I'm going to make it a surprise. That's okay. So yeah, 7:10 Eastern, 12:10 UTC/UK. Will be in some kind of an aircraft, not a helicopter. I can assure you, not a glider. But we will fly something from Will Rogers to Rick Husband, and try to be a little bit quick about it, just so that we can get through it. Anyway, thank you all for coming in and hanging out. There are lots of people coming here at the end. Everybody wants to see the landing. Nobody cares about the takeoff or anything in between. You're welcome, Joseph. Everybody wants to come in at the end here and hang out. But anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, morning, afternoon, evening, early Thursday. It's possible. Who knows? Somewhere out there in the Pacific Ocean, it's already Thursday. So, I have been and always shall be your host and pilot, Uncle B. Until tomorrow, peace. Live long and prosper.